Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something pretty fascinating today, dream interpretation. We're going to be looking at excerpts from Sigmund Freud's interpretation of dreams.
Oh, Freud. A bit controversial.
Definitely. But his ideas are still a big deal in psychology, especially his theories about dreams.
Right, right. I mean, it makes you think, doesn't it? Do our dreams really have, like, hidden meanings?
Are they more than just, those crazy images and feelings we get when we're asleep?
Exactly. And Freud was convinced they were. He actually argued that dreams are, get this, wish fulfillments.
Wish fulfillments, that's a pretty bold claim.
It is. But he had a way of backing it up with some pretty interesting observations.
So where did he even start with this whole idea? How did he get there?
Well, he started by just paying really close attention to his own dreams, like writing them down and analyzing them.
Mm.
And what he noticed was that they always seemed to connect back to stuff from the day before, what he called the dream day.
Interesting. So, like, how sometimes you dream about something and you're like, wait, did that actually happen?
Yeah, exactly. Like one time he dreamt about having trouble getting into a house, and there was this woman waiting, impatiently. And it turned out later that day, he had talked to a relative who was waiting for some help.
Oh, wow. So it's like our brains are sort of like taking pieces of our day and making these nighttime stories out of them.
Yeah, kind of. But then the question is, why are dreams so weird and symbolic? I mean, my dreams aren't usually just replays of my day.
Exactly. Mine either.
Right, that's where this concept of dream disfigurement comes in.
Dream disfigurement sounds a little scary.
Well, it's Freud's idea that our minds basically act as sensors, especially when it comes to touchy subjects, things we might not want to face directly.
So our dreams are speaking in code.
In a way, yeah. Like imagine you dream about being chased by a giant spider. That spider might not literally mean you're afraid of spiders.
Oh, I see.
It could be a symbol for, say, a deadline at work that's stressing you out, or maybe a conversation you're avoiding.
So your mind turns that anxiety into this scary image of a spider.
Exactly. It disguises the real source of your fear with a symbol.
That makes a lot of sense. But how does that disguising actually work? How does the mind pull that off?
Well, Fleming proposed a few different ways. One he called displacement. It's basically like the mind is playing a shell game with our emotions.
A shell game. Okay, I'm intrigued.
So the emotional energy from something important gets shifted to something that seems more neutral or random.
Can you give me, like, a specific example?
Sure. Freud actually analyzed one of his own dreams where he was writing a monograph, like a scientific paper, about a plant. Pretty boring stuff, right?
Yeah, not exactly a thriller.
But when he really thought about it, he realized that monograph actually symbolized a much deeper conversation he'd had with a friend earlier that day, something that was emotionally charged.
So the monograph itself wasn't really the point, it was just a stand-in for something more complex.
Exactly. It was his mind's way of shifting the focus away from that uncomfortable feeling and onto something safer.
That's fascinating. So it's not just about understanding the literal images in a dream, but also what they might be representing on a deeper level.
Right. And he saw this pattern in his patients too. Like one patient dreamt about refusing a dinner invitation. Pretty harmless, right?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like a nightmare or anything.
No, not at all. But when they explored it together, it turned out that the dream symbolized her hidden desire not to help a friend gain weight. She was worried this friend might become more attractive to her husband.
Wow. There's a lot more going on under the surface than it seems.
Definitely. And that's the thing about dream interpretation.
Yeah.
It's not just about cracking a code. It's about understanding the emotional truth behind those symbols.
So we're starting to see how these seemingly random images in our dreams can actually have a lot of meaning behind them.
Yeah, but the big question is, how does this all tie back to Freud's idea about dreams as wish fulfillments? Because, I mean, let's be honest, not all dreams are pleasant.
Yeah, what about nightmares or dreams that make you wake up feeling anxious? How do those fit in?
That's a great question. And that's where the difference between what Freud called the manifest and latent content of dreams is really important. The manifest content is the surface stuff, what you remember when you wake up.
Yeah.
You know, the images, the plot, all that.
Okay, so like the face value version of the dream.
Right. But beneath that surface, there's the latent content, the deeper symbolic meaning that needs to be interpreted.
Ah, I see. So it's like there's a hidden message waiting to be decoded.
Exactly. And Freud's argument was that even nightmares or anxiety dreams can be wish fulfillments, just in a more disguised way. He even talked about what he called counter-wish dreams, where the wish is actually to prove him wrong, or maybe even a subconscious desire for punishment, which leads to those negative experiences in the dream.
But how do you know it's not just our minds messing with us? I mean, isn't it kind of circular to say that even dreams that go against the theory are actually proving it?
That's a fair point, and it's something that psychologists have been debating for a long time. It's definitely something to keep in mind as we delve deeper into these theories. But Freud did give some examples that are pretty convincing. Like one patient who really disliked her mother-in-law dreamt about traveling with her. Not exactly a dream vacation,
It
right?
sounds more like a nightmare to me.
Right. But this actually fulfilled her wish to prove Freud's theory wrong.
So even when it seems like our dreams were contradicting his idea, they might actually be proving it in this roundabout way.
It's funny how the subconscious works, right?
It really is. So can you give us some more examples of how this wish fulfillment thing actually plays out in dreams?
Yeah, definitely. Freud talked about things like the thirst dream, where the person just dreams about drinking water and avoids having to wake up.
Makes sense.
Or the lazy dream, where you dream you're already at work or wherever you need to be so you can sleep in longer. And he had this one patient who needed a really uncomfortable medical device, and she dreamt about getting rid of it, but in a way that shifted all her suffering onto someone else.
Oh, wow.
All of those, according to Freud, are examples of how our minds are always trying to fulfill our wishes, even in our sleep.
It's amazing how much is going on beneath the surface. It really makes you think twice about those everyday dreams we have.
It really does. And as we keep exploring, we're going to dive into how a lot of those wishes are rooted in our earliest experiences, our childhoods.
Oh, that's interesting. I can't wait to hear more about that. Okay, so our dreams can be these like disguised wish fulfillments. But where are these wishes coming from? Are we talking about stuff we're actively wanting in our waking lives?
Oh, it's not always that simple.
Hmm.
Freud believed that a lot of those desires, even the ones we might not even realize we have, are shaped by our childhood experiences.
Our childhoods. Interesting.
Yeah, he actually argued that those early experiences, even the ones we think we've forgotten, can pop up in our dreams. And they often show up in, symbolic ways.
So like our dreams are kind of like time capsules, holding on to these bits and pieces of our past.
Exactly. And Freud really believed that psychoanalysis was key to uncovering these buried memories and figuring out how they connect to our dreams. Like, there was this one case where a guy dreamt about this weird district and a person he couldn't quite place, and then later on, it hit him. He realized that both the place, AD the person, were from his early childhood.
Wow. So it's like his dream helped him unlock this forgotten part of his memory.
And there was another case where a man dreamt about his, former tutor in bed with the nurse. Super strange, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty wild dream.
But guess what? His brother confirmed that it actually happened when they were kids.
What? No way. So does that mean, like, every single thing from our childhood, even if it seems totally random, could end up in our dreams?
Well, Freud believed that any memory, as long as there was a connection to something going on in your life right now emotionally, could find its way into your dreams. There was even this case where a man kept seeing this yellow lion in his dreams.
A yellow lion.
Yeah, weird, right? But it turned out it was this old toy he had completely forgotten about from when he was a kid.
So even a childhood toy can hold all this meaning in our dreams.
It's pretty amazing, and that's what makes dream interpretation so fascinating. It's this journey of self-discovery, a way to connect with these hidden parts of ourselves.
It's like we're holding up a mirror to our subconscious.
Exactly, but if dreams can show us so much about our hidden desires and experiences, what does that actually mean for our waking lives? Can we really learn from our dreams and use them to improve ourselves?
That's a great question.
It's one that Freud thought about a lot.
Yeah.
He really believed that understanding our dreams could give us all this insight into our motivations, fears, and desires. And by paying attention to those recurring themes, the symbols and the emotions, we might actually start to see patterns in our waking lives, like in our behavior, our relationships, even our unmet needs.
So it's not just about figuring out the dream itself, but about connecting it to the big picture of our lives.
Yeah, exactly. Dream interpretation can be like this amazing tool for self-reflection. It can help us see those blind spots, those things that might be holding us back without even realizing it. Like if you're always dreaming about being chased, maybe it means you're feeling overwhelmed or threatened in some way during the day.
That makes sense.
It's like our dreams are trying to give us these clues about what we need to pay attention to.
Yeah, I like that. It's like they're trying to tell us something important.
And if we pay attention to those clues, we can actually make changes that might make our lives better.
Mm.
more authentic, more fulfilling. Remember, Freud said, the dream never concerns itself with trifles. So every dream, even the little ones that don't seem like a big deal, they all have something to tell us about ourselves.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is, isn't it? It makes you want to pay more attention to all those fleeting images and feelings, even the ones that seem kind of random at first.
It does. But, if dreams are always trying to fulfill a wish, even the scary ones, is there ever a point where a dream is actually just meaningless, like just random noise?
That's a great question. And I think it really gets to the heart of all the debate around Freud's theories, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He thought all dreams were wish fulfillments, even if those wishes were hidden. But there are other people who think dreams can do other things too. Like processing emotions, dealing with memories, solving problems, even sparking creativity.
So maybe it's not always about finding a hidden wish, but about figuring out what the dream is doing for our minds, what purpose it's serving.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes exploring dreams so amazing. There's always something new to learn, another layer to uncover.
Well, I'm definitely feeling inspired to pay more attention to my dreams now. It feels like, we've just dipped our toes into this whole world of dreams. Freud's ideas are definitely interesting, but I bet there's a lot more to dream interpretation than what we've talked about, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Freud kind of laid the groundwork, but, dream interpretation hasn't stopped evolving since then. There are all sorts of different schools of thought now, each with their own take on how to understand the language of dreams.
So there's not just one right way to do it. It
Yeah.
sounds like there's room for, personal interpretation.
Exactly. Some approaches are all about the symbolism in dreams, looking at archetypes and those kind of universal themes. Others focus more on the emotional side, like how dreams help us process our feelings and experiences from our waking lives.
It seems like with so many different approaches, it could be hard to know where to even start.
True. But I think the most important thing is to just approach it with an open mind. Be curious. Start by really paying attention to your own Oblivion dreams. What themes keep popping up? What emotions do they bring up? What symbols really stand out?
Like becoming a detective of our own minds.
Exactly. And there are tons of resources out there to help you, like books, workshops, even online groups where people talk about their dreams.
So we don't have to figure it all out on our own.
Nope. There's a whole community of dream explorers out there.
That's cool. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into dreams, I'm kind of left with this renewed sense of wonder about how powerful dreams can be.
And what really sticks out to you from what we've talked about?
What really struck me, it's how much Freud emphasized our personal histories and how our earliest experiences, especially in childhood, can shape our unconscious desires.
Yeah.
It makes me think maybe by understanding our dreams, we can actually gain a deeper understanding of our own stories, who we are, what we want in life.
That's a really insightful point. It shows how dream interpretation isn't just about, decoding symbols. It's about getting to know ourselves better, our motivations, our fears, all those things we long for, even if we don't realize it.
Yeah, I like that. So even if, we don't agree with everything Freud said, his work still gives us a way to start exploring these hidden parts of ourselves.
Definitely. And whether we look at it through the lens of wish fulfillment or emotions or symbols, the world of dreams is just this incredible landscape waiting to be explored.
Well said. I think we can all agree that dreams are way more than just random stuff happening in our heads. They have this unique power to connect us with, our inner world, to reveal things we might not see otherwise, and to help us on this path of understanding ourselves better.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, keep dreaming, keep exploring those dreams, and keep listening to that inner voice that speaks to us through them.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into dreams. Until next time, sweet dreams.